we please just go anywhere but the goddamn woods?
I know you're gonna like this, T. We know you like it rough.
Never not regretted telling you that.
Wow. Even the door is telling us to get out.
There are mysteries in these woods, just like the people in them. You'd know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, miss?
What are you trying to...
About things hidden, things that live under the surface.
It's great to talk to you, and congratulations on your movie, which we gave a rave review as well, and which is about to play at Frameline. And it's the first ever werewolf horror story that was gone on Queerguru, and maybe the last, actually. Can you tell us in your own words about giving it all away, Marvel, what this is about?
Yes. So Spookable is a horror comedy, and it features myself and Alexandra Gray as two trans best friends who go into the woods on an Airbnb vacation, although we don't use Airbnb, but a vacation, only to discover that there are supernatural forces in the woods, ... So some hijinks that happens. Yeah.
So you're the co-writer and the star. So how did you come up with a story?
The story came about during the pandemic. My co-writer asked me, what roles would you love to play? I think that there's very little trans masculine representation to this day, and I wasn't interested in playing a sad trans boy or someone who's living their life through the cis lens. I wanted to play a goofy, wild character, and I have an affinity for werewolves. We also have noticed that a lot of our trans male friends have an affinity for werewolves, and the metaphor of testosterone and the transformation of the werewolf felt really fitting. So we decided to run with it, and this is what came out.
So tell me, is there a message in this about the trans experience?
I would say inevitably there's probably multiple messages. Of course, I touched on one right now, which was the transformation of the werewolf and the transformation that trans masculine people go through if they medically choose to transition, and the effects of testosterone on the body, growing hair, having more of an appetite for everything. So definitely there's a commentary there, and even within Alexandra's experience, the trans femme experience, there's some metaphors and stories there in terms of having to navigate the world around men, right? And all kinds of men, including trans men. So, yeah.
And another first for you, what I think is the first, all trans crew and cast. How important was that to you to do this film?
It was really... I feel so lucky and blessed to have had such an incredible crew. Our cinematographer, Asia Pilipil, she is actually going to be at Frameline because she's based in San Francisco. She's a trans DP, so having a trans cinematographer, it makes a huge difference on set, just overall in terms of the tone and the energy. There's a lot less explaining that you have to do. You're not worried about how crews are going to respond to you. I've been on all kinds of sets. I have been on sets where I am the only trans person, and you just are code switching all the time. So for me, like, I'm an actor, so I'm pretty good at being a chameleon, but it's a lot of energy to be a chameleon. And on the Spookable set, it was just known that everyone was, non-binary, queer, trans, whatever. And it does create a sense of family. It's really quite lovely.
So my confession is I don't like horror, but I did like the fact you imbued it with a great sense of humor. And my favorite line that you said was, "We know you like it rough."
Yes.
Which resounds with all of us. So how important was it to make it funny?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, so I'm with you, Roger, because horror was never my first inclination as a genre. My partner's really into horror, but I have been very squeamish and I do get scared and I have a very strong imagination. So it's been a journey for me. I actually enjoy horror a lot more now that I've been with my partner, and I've also been exposed to really great horror. And I do have a respect for the genre, but the comedy was essential because I just finished a feature horror film that's pure horror, and making it's totally different than watching it. But I'm like, oh, my character literally provides the comic relief in this feature that I just did. So I think comedy is essential in horror because it allows you to kind of breathe for a moment instead of just being worried about what's happening to the people. So I'm really grateful for the comedy. And in terms of how I live my life, because I'm a stand-up comedian as well, I just can't help but be funny. It's a coping mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. Yeah.
Well, I don't know horror, but the very first, because I'm old, the very first movie I saw, I remember for the wrong reasons. It was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I remember being scared by the animals in the background rather than Dorothy. But you have a very long and impressive resume, which includes director, screenwriter, writer, comic, and heartthrob. So how can I apply to be a heartthrob? Is that a job that comes?
Roger, I think that you can do it. I think it's an energy. I said this. I think it's an energy, and it's just how you carry yourself, And there is something about the heartthrob energy. Also, is about being present with people, And so that's always what I'm trying to do, is just be present with folks. And I do feel very blessed to have the genetics. Thank you, mom and dad, that I have. You can't tell on the Zoom screen, but I'm almost 6 feet tall, so that's also helpful. But yeah, it's a hard job. It's a hard job being a heartthrob.
Well, someone has to do it.
I know, right? I'm over here. I'm over here.
So, you're also an astrologer. So, can you predict I'm going to be a heartthrob?
I do predictive work. I actually do predictive work with clients. I like to say that astrology is archetypally predictive, not just like crystal ball. So what I mean by that is like we're using a bell curve to see what's going to happen. But you know what? I don't even know if it's a predicting that you're going to be a heartthrob, because I think you could already be there. I think you might already be there.
I'll ask my husband. So we're at Frameline, which is, if you need an excuse to go to San Francisco, which you shouldn't. It's on now, and you're screening it 3 or 4 times. Is there a journey for the film after Frameline that you know of yet?
Yes. So actually this morning, before we hopped on, I've been talking to some Australian filmmakers who are wanting to screen it. We are going to be showing in the Midwest officially. And the East Coast, of course. We've already shown at Maryland Film Festival, and we'll continue to do the East Coast because our director is from Boston. We would love to go to Europe. So yeah, we're going all over the world. And ultimately, we would love for it to be on streaming and accessible as a short for folks around the world to watch it online. That would be the goal.
That's a good idea. And I want to finish on a slightly serious note, because in this political climate here, and I'm back home in the UK, it's not a very healthy situation for the trans community. How concerned are you about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ever-present concern for sure, because it's real, it's happening. And I do believe that we have to choose to be, I'll say it this way, we shouldn't be entirely pessimistic or nihilistic and just be like, oh, everything's screwed. I do think that we have to continue to make art. We have to continue to make art that is activism. The beauty of horror as a genre is that it is largely watched by everybody. Like, horror is this really ubiquitous genre that like dudes in the Midwest watch in America, and to have trans people in that space, horror fans will just watch it regardless of who's being cast in it. So that in and of itself is visibility. And I know that visibility is a double-edged sword, but hopefully the work and the art can continue to sort of infiltrate in a way that's fun and normalizes things the way that we needed to normalize gay and lesbian experience in the 90s and 2000s. So I'm hopeful. I'm a hopeful person and I'm a creative person, and that's just how I'm going to live my life. And I also have massive respect to all the people who are working in different fields, legislatively and in law, to help
Mhm.
protect folks as well. So everyone should do their part, basically.
But cinema makes a big point for us, particularly with the LG and the rest of the acronym there, because it helps us understand the T part, because we don't always know it that well. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that, and continue to work and continue being a heartthrob. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate
Very
you.
welcome.
Can we please just go anywhere but the goddamn woods?
I know you're gonna like this tea. We know you like it rough.
Never not regretted telling you that.
Wow. Even the door is telling us to get out.
There are mysteries in these woods, just like the people in them. You'd know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, miss?
What are you trying to...
About things hidden,